Mason. Golly, is that just the article we're going to start with?
Maybe.
Jesus. Woo!
Yeah.
Woo!
Well, times is what they is.
But the slippery slope fallacy, it's just, yeah.
It's not a thing. And good morning.
Good morning indeed. And there are people saying good morning to us and good morning to all of you out there, dear beautiful viewers.
Uh-oh. One of my articles says web version is down, so I guess that's a non-starter.
That's a Maverick. That is a negative. That is a negative. You know what's funny about that is while that makes for great, it's great in the movies, but if you actually buzz the tower after they told you not to, how quick would they kick your ass out of the Navy?
Yeah. No.
Son, we don't care how good you are. That is a $14 million flying fucking machine. And that was 80s dollars. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We said no.
Yeah, that was actual money back then. That was money that a House Budget Committee would have been concerned with.
Anyhow.
Not current fang pocket change.
Okay, I'm not going down that at all. Even though Adam did. Oh no. Okay, I'm gonna stop. Let's just say good morning to people. Sean Stryker.
Rabbit hole.
Good morning. Yeah, it was rabbit hole.
Oh,
that's fried rice.
Speaking of furries, we're going to talk about this pervert that was thrown out of. That's not fair. That's not fair. He's a completely different kind of pervert. So, good morning.
Sean
Stryker's with us. I see Rose. Good morning, sunshine. I see the Fit Life with Danny and Dan Burks. So, we are in full diversity mode now. Totally comfortable with that.
A double Dan.
Double Dan.
I was trying to think of another pun to throw in with that, but it's...
You know what, though? I'm good with Double Dan. It fits with the Donnie Two Scoops motif that I enjoy.
There's your mom.
Hey, Mom. Good morning.
Let's see. And then, look, one of the Steves is here. Good morning. And then there is your dad. Oh, look, he added SGM to his Twitch tag.
No, that's been there.
I thought it was just... Okay.
Your Majesty.
Fair enough. Space heater at work only heats a small area. That's why they call it a space heater, Sean. They don't call it an everything heater. Woo. Oh, man. And then...
Fake family have new food show. Damn, old man. Goldwater, $1 billion here and $1 billion there, and soon we're talking real money. Yeah, no shit, Dan.
And then Georgia Constitution Media.
FTP.
And I think, yeah. FTP, man, see, I grew up in the 80s when the NWA was a thing, and Film the Police is not the first thing that I think of when I hear, like, that's one of those things that's still stuff.
Stryker says the space is 2 inches between my shoulder blades. Are you sure you have a space heater and not a personal massage device?
Yeah.
I was cold, so I lit a Bunsen burner.
Oh. Well, hey, if you light a Bunsen burner the right...
frisk the police.
You know, if you light a Bunsen burner the right way, you will literally keep a man warm for the rest of his life.
Yep.
I mean, the whole rest of his life. You know, just for funsies, we're going to have to go back and watch some John Carpenter movies because I promise you are missing out, brother. And we'll have to do one of those setups where, like, we have the cameras filming us.
Right, okay.
So that it pick up the audio from the movie as well so that we can splice in whatever scene makes you go, ooh!
I gotta say, by the way, I see Jeff Goldblum's Silent Fart Finds a Way has found his way back into the chat. We haven't seen him in a hot minute. We missed you, buddy. Good to see you. Welcome back.
Anyhow, They Live, yes. The three that I feel like Chris needs to watch are They Live, Halloween, and The Thing. And that is correct. He's seen none of them.
That is correct.
But so shame him in the chat. Meanwhile, while you guys are having fun, we are going to have golly, where do we
it's hard
start?
to know where to start, but let's start. I think we'll kind of start top down and drill in. How's that sound? Sound kind of like what's been happening?
Ew.
Elon Musk fires the woke mind virus is either defeated or nothing else matters. After he was booed when he made a surprise appearance on stage with Dave Chappelle at Chappelle's show at the Chase Center in San Francisco Sunday night, Twitter CEO Elon Musk followed by issuing a ringing denunciation of his leftist foes on Monday morning. When Chappelle introduced Musk, much of the crowd booed, prompting Chappelle to quip, "It sounds like some of the people you fired are in the audience," adding, "All of those people who are booing, I'm just pointing out the obvious. They have terrible seats. It's all coming from way up there." Get woke, go broke.
Well, you know, and it kind of reminds me of the people that think they're going to catcall the comedian, because even like your C-tier comedian has been up on stage like hundreds of times and dealt with assholes like you, and he's
like me.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, yes.
Yes.
That's fair.
So what do you think you're going to do? And just real quick, I don't want to go too far into it because there's much more important things, but gosh, you know, the left was fine with, say, for example, Gina Carano until she stepped off the reservation. They loved Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Until he stepped off and Elon Musk, Tesla's the greatest thing ever.
And we've talked about this a few times before. You know, before he was president, I mean, Barack Obama said Donald Trump is the American ideal. He represents the culmination of the American dream.
I thought that was Oprah.
Yeah, her too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And every rapper would talk about, it's all about being like Donald Trump with all the gold and the
gold-plated bathroom.
Yeah, the gold-plated toilet, and always got a blonde porn star stripper on both elbows. And that was, Donald Trump is the best thing ever, and this is what every American should hope to be. And boy, did they change that tune when he started, I don't know, securing borders and achieving actual world peace.
Yeah, it's weird, and this happens on both sides, but it has been dramatically exposed on the left that it's not actually about policy. It is about the politics of the zeitgeist or whatever you're supposed to feel good, man, in the moment right there. Because for ostensibly the left was the party of peace. Well, then you had a president come in and start no new wars and actually start to tactfully and intelligently pull us out of the conflicts we were in. And then on top of all that, they started this whole Abraham Accords thing, which is just like, if you want world peace, you should probably stop the Middle East from trying to murder each other. That's just saying, okay? And how many people did Putin invade while Trump was president? How rude was China, except for that whole China virus thing, while Trump was president? Yeah, but screw Donald Trump. He's a fascist warmonger and everything. So all this stuff with Musk, oh no, Musk is going to ruin Twitter by what? By banning child porn and actually enforcing the TOS across the board.
And that's a major piece of what's going on over at Twitter right now. Guys, I promise you, I'm tired of talking about Twitter. I hope
this is great.
Well, it is. What's going on over at Twitter is awesome, and Twitter is more important than those of you who think that the Twitter situation is extremely important. Probably still don't even understand just how right you are about that. And all of this is fascinating and awesome to see happening. I would like to be covering some other stuff. We're back on it this morning because Cameron wasn't here to talk about it Tuesday when I was covering some specifics. And there has been a development since that show, namely, Elon Musk fired the entire trust and safety team.
Trust and safety
and team. That right there, the scare quotes around trust and safety. It was called the Trust and Safety Team. It was literally a group of people at Twitter, which included their chief legal counsel, Vajiya Gotti, included an FBI hatchet man, Jim Baker, and this groomer, Yoel Roth. These people were in charge of what they called trust and safety. And as it turns out, even while those individuals were meeting almost weekly and bi-weekly, at least according to the public calendars, with agents of the FBI, the federal government, the DNC, and the Biden campaign, child exploiting material remained freely available on Twitter. Twitter has been used until, it's still being used because Elon is still in the process of putting a stop to it. But the exchange of child exploiting material has been a major problem at Twitter. And even with the FBI actively involved with Twitter for the now evidenced explicit purpose of removing right-wing voices from the platform and tampering with the 2020 election intentionally. All the while, the FBI is conducting a coup against the United States government. And understand that child exploiting materials, I'm trying not to use the P word, because that's the one that gets you here. The possession, production, and exchange of that material is a federal crime. That automatically puts you in FBI land. They did nothing. Did absolutely nothing about it. And I'm sure that doesn't have anything at all to do with the trust and safety team, including this guy.
Oh, can I read this one?
Please do. I'm going to try to zoom it in a little bit for the audience. There you go.
Okay. Hold on to your butts. Twitter owner Elon Musk is going scorched earth on the company's former head of trust and safety, Yoel Roth. On Saturday, Musk responded to the resurfacing of this 2010 tweet from Roth linking to a Salon article asking if high school students can meaningfully consent to sex with their teachers. That the question even needs to be asked tells you a lot about the mindset of a man who, until recently, headed up Twitter's Ministry of Truth, the same company that banned the use of the word groomer in July. Musk replied with a bombshell quote from Roth's PhD thesis, which was focused on the gay hookup platform Grindr. Roth argued in the paper that Grindr should be safely connecting queer young adults. In other words, teenagers should be allowed to use Grindr.
Yeah, including minor children.
Right.
That's right. While this guy was a college student, his thesis for his PhD was, look, I'm a gay guy in college, and I think it's really important that 12-year-old boys be on Grindr.
Well, and then there's the whole... Anyhow, let's...
So it's no wonder that the child exploiting material continued apace on Twitter throughout Roth's tenure.
Well, setting aside the fact that one can earn a PhD in Grindr studies, which is a fair point, Roth's apparent obsession with gay hookup culture, see his research page here, may explain why the Twitter censorship cabal banned the word groomer last summer. In July, Lauren Alexander, Twitter's health product communications lead, said in an email, "We are committed to combating abuse motivated by hatred, prejudice, or intolerance, particularly abuse that seeks to silence the voices of those who have been historically marginalized. For this reason, we prohibit behavior that targets individuals or groups with abuse based on their perceived membership in a protected category." In other words, you can't make fun of gay people because there seems to be this cross current with that exact thing that you don't want me to say the name of, even though I already did like 10 minutes ago. Use of the term groomer is prohibited under our hateful conduct policy when it is used as a descriptor in context of discussion of gender identity.
Okay.
Gee, I wonder why they would have a problem with you accurately naming a thing the thing.
And I want to touch on something here real quick. We are committed to combating abuse motivated by hate. Abuse that seeks to silence the voices of those who have been historically marginalized. Let me ask you a question.
Please, ask.
What group is there, historically, which has been more frequently and aggressively...
The Jews!
...marginalized?
Oh, wait, no. Did I just get us...
...than the voices of people who disagree with their corrupt government?
I mean, that is the thing. Like, who's marginalized? Whoever's not allowed to criticize the thing around them.
Yeah, I challenge you, proponents of this kind of language use, to answer me this. Define marginalization. Define marginalizing people. Right? And the activities which are entailed by the action of marginalizing a group. And do it without mentioning the suppression of their speech. Right? Go tell me about lunch counter sit-ins without mentioning that they were being prevented from engaging in their First Amendment protected right to free speech. Let alone political action, petitioning the government for redress of grievances, peaceably assembling, all of that. Just show me a marginalized community that's marginalized by your summation, and find me one that exists in that category that didn't get there by having its speech censored.
Jeff Goldblum's silent fart finds a way. He says he got a timeout for posting pictures of wood chippers at people that self-identified as maps. I will say this, though. I will say this. There is one positive value to this, and that is if you want to self-identify as a map, please do.
Please do.
If you feel so strongly about it that you want to put it in your Twitter bio, by all means, don't let me stop you from throwing up a giant red flag that says, don't let my kids anywhere near you.
One of my favorite science fiction novels of all time is a book called Snow Crash. And in it, there's a major character named Raven that's just this giant monster. And he's the clear bad guy for most of the book. And part of his description is he has a giant black block letter tattoo across his forehead that says, racially insensitive and socially volatile. I'd be totally comfortable with that as like, this is the prescribed sentence under a court of law for conviction of the abuse of children and of a sexual nature.
Yeah, and it would, yeah, it's, that's one of those things. Actually, Crowder was talking about this in his show yesterday. Like, if you can prove, and he was very specific, you have to prove a very specific type of sexual abuse.
Right. You turned 18 while you were dating a 16-year-old in high school doesn't qualify.
Right. Is the death penalty reasonable?
Yes.
Well, but part of what he was talking about was, can we even have that conversation? Can we even start in the same place as a baseline for even being allowed to ask that question? Because that's the thing. All this flowery language about we are committed to combating abuse and motivated by hatred, prejudice, or intolerance, particularly abuse that seeks to silence the voices of those who have been historically marginalized. All of that pretty language, all of that you should feel bad for having an opinion thing. Like, we were the bad guys, right? Supposedly. We were the ones who said, man, it's really weird that you guys seem so hung up on this whole gay thing. I don't actually care that much one way or another if you're gay. I don't even really care that much one way or another if you're gay and you get married to another gay person. But you just seem bound and damn determined to shove it in my face.
Right.
Over and over and over again. And now we're, hold on.
I don't care, but I really don't care.
But now we're at the point where like Willow has a lesbian kiss in the first 20 minutes. And
it's not even a hot lesbian kiss.
Yeah, it's awkward. It's one of those things that's clearly forced in.
No, it's not only forced in, like the one chick climbs on top of the other one and holds her down.
Yeah, no, the joke was right there.
Right, I understand in a lesbian relationship, nothing's ever forced in.
No, but in certain sexual abuse activities, it is.
In a completely unrelated note, you know, one of my favorite songs is by the band Tool, and it's called Stinkfist.
Right. No, that's... Yeah, but I'm still... Lately, man, I've been listening to Enema a lot.
Yes. Learn to swim.
Yeah, the song's almost 30 years old, and yet somehow...
Real fucking high on drugs.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But, look, we were the bad guys, right? Just for saying, no, the gay thing is weird. Okay, and we are so far removed. Okay, we're not even allowed to say that certain things about homosexuality make me uncomfortable, just kind of generally. Okay, and
like army uniforms and dog masks.
That's the thing. Okay, that I wasn't going to bring that up. And well,
Jeff
actually,
right in front of me. Right in front of me.
I wasn't going to bring that up, but that's a symptom of what I'm talking about. It's like, okay, we have to celebrate your queerness. Okay, why do I have to celebrate your queerness? Okay, let's forget how weird it is that you feel the need to celebrate your queerness. Let's forget that. Why do I have to celebrate it? And not only do I have to celebrate it, but I'm a bad guy if I don't. You will be made to care.
from the chat, we're not the only fans of Tool here.
That is very obvious.
Crackshot, one of my favorite anecdotal stories about Maynard and his vineyard. So he had a tasting at the vineyard, and somebody asked if the wine was vegan, and to his horror, Maynard realized that it technically was. So he immediately tweeted out a picture of himself throwing bacon into the wine casks to solve that problem.
That's a okay.
Sorry. Yep, totally off topic.
Yeah, because there's a lot.
What? Awesome.
Yeah, there's a reason why Maynard always makes a good interview. Anyhow. Woo. Anyhow, I promise I'm trying to get to something, okay? We were the guys that had a problem with the slippery slope, basically, and we were the bigots. We were the people who were small-minded, and I'm bringing it all the way back to Elon Musk saying the woke mind virus needs to be defeated or nothing else matters. The reason for that is, and I've thought, ever since I knew we were going to talk about this, I've been trying to think of the exact right way to say this succinctly. And this is how close I can come at the moment. The problem with wokeism, okay, as it's understood today, not what the actual meaning of it is when it was originally incepted. But the problem with the current brand of wokeism is really tied into that whole, hey, you want to be on the right side of history, don't you, buddy? Because, of course, everybody wants to be on the right side of history. Okay, everybody wants to be Winston Churchill in the history books. Nobody wants to be Adolf Hitler in the history books. And yes, those are the most extreme examples I can think of. Okay. But when you hit somebody with that, you short circuit their logical processes. And what was insane to them, even just a few years ago, like, no, come on, if gay people get married, you're never going to have all this fetishized stuff being normalized. You're never going to have children being sexualized. That's not going to happen.
Right.
And now we live in a world where
that's absolutely happening.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. And part of what's coming out in these Twitter files is it's one of those things that's like, hey, are you sure this isn't like an article from The Onion or the Babylon Bee?
Right.
Nope. This is really happening?
Nope, not a
okay.
joke.
All right, not a joke. This is every terrible thing you ever worried about happening is happening. Okay, check, good. So say we all. So the wokeism must be defeated because it's a purely emotional response. We make the jokes about NPCs and NPCs receiving their updated programming, and wokeism is that programming. It's literally like a malleable form of computer code that can be edited on the fly and downloaded through Wi-Fi. Except it goes directly into your brain. Because, again, we go back to Elon Musk was one of the good guys until he bought Twitter. And what makes Elon Musk so terrible for buying Twitter? Well, because he actually wants to maximize the free speech on the platform and wants to come down hard on people that engage in abuse of children in a sexual manner. And gosh, it turns out that everything that he said about the bots was true, and all this stuff that's coming out now that, like, there was all this backdoor collusion. Like, we didn't even get into the fact that Dr. Fauci is involved in all this. There's a reason why his pronouns are prosecute Fauci, right? Now we're getting the truth coming out that it's all right here. It's in black and white that literally this company that controls the flow of information, that the news media has decided to elevate. Not only is Twitter only used by a small percentage of the population, but only a small percentage of Twitter rises to the top of that heap. But the news media can say, oh, well, it's trending on Twitter. It's trending on Twitter. It's trending on Twitter. And it wouldn't be that hard to manipulate the algorithm. And now we know, we've literally got the Twitter files saying we can manipulate the algorithm. So why does wokeism have to be defeated? Because it literally breaks a man's brain and destroys his soul, and it's almost impossible to recover him from that state. Talk to these people and just ask them, Ask them what they thought about a thing 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And if their answers contradict their currently held position, they will not be able to recognize it. Somehow we've created a system where guys like this absolute, truly piece of shit, Yoel Roth, can put himself in a position to be able to... He's going to tell the rest of us all about trust and safety. Meanwhile, he's going to opine, well, what's the safest way to let teenagers use hookup apps?
Yeah.
But Elon Musk is the bad guy. Boo, boo, David Chappelle.
In that thesis, he doesn't just suggest that teenagers should be allowed to use hookup apps. He suggests that it should be encouraged.
Yes, lays out specifically. Well, there should be a way for teenagers to safely use these apps.
So
excuse me.
I want to bring this back around to the abuse of the words. Sergeant Major says he's been tweeting his ass off, and you have not known. I need to give. I'll have to look at Twitter more often. I didn't know you were even on there, old man. Go ahead and share your Twitter handle in the chat there, Dad, so everybody else can follow you too, because I will follow the crap out of that.
Yeah, that's happening right now.
But here's the thing I want to say about the words. So yesterday we talked about the altering of the definition of woman to include trans women, and to say that, some women were incorrectly designated as men at birth. No, they weren't. It's not a difficult decision to make. If you can't tell at a glance, then what you have is not a person of ambiguous gender. What you have is a person with an unfortunate birth defect. A birth defect which, by the way, is uncommon, but does exist. But to change the definition of the sex of a biological creature, that's abusive. It's abusive to the entire cognitive capability of the human race. Same thing with the just a little over a year ago, we started hearing all this crap where the Democrats kept trying to say, well, the two quarters of economic drawback isn't exactly the definition of a recession. They were just so desperate to say we're not in a recession.
Yeah, we've literally been using that as the definition for 50 years.
Right. So all this changing of language, here's what I want you guys to understand about that.
Oh, that was disappointing. I'm still following you anyway right now.
The change of the language, right? You look at the trust and safety thing. Right? Look at Obamacare. Look at the Patriot Act. Right? The Ministry of Truth. The thing about the use of language in this way, when your use of language is consistently used to mean the opposite of what you're saying, what you've created is a situation where no one can trust the words you use. So every time you speak, we know that you're lying. Patriot Act, Trust and Safety Committee. Right? You're telling lies. And so the result, and this is, I think, something that we can pin a lot of the recent increase of violence and criminality in largely woke cities. Spikes in murder rates in New York and California. You have abused the trust, the ability of people to trust language, not just to believe and have faith in, but to even understand the words that are being said to them by their leadership. And the result has been a national occurrence of psychological trauma. We've been betrayed by those who are supposed to be in the highest, or those who are in the highest levers of authority and power. we've been utterly betrayed by them. And the result is, we see a rise in people adhering to or studying or following or believing in conspiracy theories, not just because they all keep turning out to be true, but the more the psychological trauma of constantly having your ability to even understand the language that you're exposed to questioned means that you, just like having a partner betray you, having a spouse cheat on you, you are now in the psychologically traumatic position of saying, dear God, I believed in this person. I trusted this. And I was wrong to have done so. Which means not only can I no longer trust this person, I never should have trusted this person. I never could trust this person. And more traumatically and importantly, I now cannot trust my own judgment. I cannot trust myself to have correctly judged anything. This is why the deepest circle of hell is reserved for traitors and mutineers. I can no longer trust myself with any judgment I've ever made. Guys, that means I can no longer trust reality. The entirety of my perceived reality is shattered.
That's probably the best way to summarize wokeism. Your perception of reality is incorrect. That's how you know you're woke, right? Assigned male at birth? Yeah, that's just your reality saying, "No, fuck you, bye-bye."
Yeah.
Right? There's the abuse component to it. Like you and I disagreed before the show whether or not it was appropriate to label it gaslighting. It at least does have this in common with gaslighting. When you verbally, emotionally kick somebody in the teeth over and over again. Have you ever seen an abused dog?
Yes. Well, so what I'm talking about and gaslighting are different in type, not kind. They're the same category of thing. Gaslighting is a specific action.
But the thing that I was saying that they had in common was when you beat a person often enough, right, and they think a certain thing is the truth, right? You talked before about part of the reason why North Korea is such a supplicant culture is because literally from birth they're brainwashed. Yeah. Their perception of reality is absolutely colored to a degree that's terrifying. Where
it's constant and complete.
Yeah, like when the dear leader comes on the loudspeakers in the capital city and starts playing the theremin, and they don't even hear it. Like they're not lying. It's just so much a part of their what? Oh, what's that weird? What? That sounds weird to you? That doesn't happen in your cities? And that's where the left wants us. Exactly. And for some reason, it definitely appears as though they want us in that position so they can do perverted things to the kids. It's weird how often you go far enough down these rabbit holes and you find nonsense. Like, what's that? I don't know that it was Norm Macdonald who said it, but, I'm starting to think that these Satan-worshiping pedophiles that run our government don't have our best interests at heart.
It was Norm Macdonald.
Look, and here's one of the things. I just want to throw this out there. I think we can safely assume that it's not just Twitter. I think that's what they're really pissed about.
Yes.
Okay.
Everything that's happening at Twitter, right? Everything that is coming out.
You're telling me this
Twitter,
doesn't happen at Google or Meta?
It is absolutely happening at every other platform.
And it was
New Guru joined us again. Hey, we haven't seen you in a hot minute, Nudie. Good to see you.
Yeah, it's sort of like when the stuff started to come out with CNN, and then maybe about a decade ago when all that stuff started to come out about Matt Lauer having that button on his desk.
With the rape lock button. Welcome to your corner office, Matt. Is there anything you want to add here? Yeah, can I get a rape lock button? I'd like it to be red with gold trim.
So But there does seem to be this vein of sexual perversion, and it even goes back to the Hunter Biden laptop, which just had all sorts of weird stuff with feet on it. And I'm just saying, anytime you go down one of these rabbit holes, it always ends in the same place. Some really weird sexual stuff.
Yeah.
Every time. Every time. And now Elon is basically just dropping all these bombs on us that are like, oh, yeah, they totally lied to you about the 2020 election. They totally lied to you about the pandemic. And the people that were lying to you seem to like diddling kitties. But maybe it's just Twitter. Maybe it's just Twitter.
Yeah,
Don't worry.
I'm sure that the android Zuckerberg doesn't have any bizarre predilections. This is how humans drink water, yes?
To be fair, I think that guy's legitimately just awkward. Kind of fell backwards into $1 billion. Like, oh my.
I don't know what to do. All right. Well, I actually need to wrap this up because I've got work to do this morning. Thanks for watching, guys. We love you, and we will see you tomorrow.